Hello, how's it going? In today's video, we're finally starting Volume 2. I'll be covering Draenor and the Evergrowth, the Taming of Draenor, and the Fall of Grond. So let's go! Do you remember back before Sargeras launched his Burning Crusade? Well, we're going back to that point in time for a little while. Don't worry about it, it's fine. A small world took shape in the distant corner of the Great Dark. This world would be known by many names in the coming ages. The Ogres would call it Dorgar, which means the known earth. The Arakawa would later call it Rakshar, meaning the Sunstone. In modern times, the most common name for this world would be Draenor. Surprise! This planet had no world soul in it, no sleeping titan baby, but there was something special about it. Whereas Azeroth had a very low amount of the fifth element, spirit, Draenor had a lot of it. So the elemental spirits on this planet were a lot calmer and less farty. The abundance of spirit also prevented them from even taking on physical forms. The fifth element on Draenor also accelerated the growth of Flora and Fauna. Creatures of every shape and size roamed the young world. The strong preyed on the weak, the cunning preyed on the strong. It was a free-for-all quest for dominance type thing. You know what I mean? But the greatest predators on Draenor didn't hunt with fang or claw, they hunted with root and thorn, because they were flowers. Known as spore mounds, their vines slithered around and strangled any primitive creature they could find. As they grew, they consumed more and more. These buggers blossomed into living mountains of brambles and pods and stuff. Everywhere their tendrils crept, lush forests and swampy mires formed, which sounds nice. It wasn't long before Draenor was covered in a labyrinth of deep wilds. The spore mound's roots had wormed deep into the ground in search of water and had inadvertently tapped into the fifth element. Consuming this energy gave them a crude sentience, allowing them to act as a single massive organism. The spore mounds and all other vegetation became known collectively as the Evergrowth. Meanwhile, Aggramar was out in space. He came across Draenor and he listened for a bit. He was hoping to sense the dreams of a world soul inside, but he heard nothing. But he was still intrigued by this world. He'd never seen so many flowers. Purely speculation, but I think he was looking to pick some for his bestie, Sargeras. But, as he observed the Evergrowth, he foresaw doom in Draenor's future. The plant life would just keep consuming everything until there was nothing left. Then it would consume itself. Thing was though, Aggramar kinda already had a job to do, and he feared if he himself tried to destroy the spore mounds at the heart of the Evergrowth, he'd accidentally shatter the planet. He waved his colossal hand over the planet and wove its fire, air, earth and water energies into a massive storm. He channeled this tempest into Draenor's largest mountain, and somehow, this bunch of nonsense caused the mountain to grow into life. Makes no sense, but okay. Aggramar named this creation Grond, and commanded his new pal to get to work. Grond decided to do a bit of housekeeping first, dredging seas, carving valleys, and forging mountains. Then he marched towards the nearest spore mound, which towered nearly as tall as him. The spore mound's roots flew out from the ground to entangle Grond, but he tore through them with ease. He shoved his fingers into the spore mound and tore it from the world's surface with a single mighty heave. And it was dead. The other spore mounds were like, oh no! Turned out mere roots and vines weren't going to topple Grond. They needed a new weapon. So, they drained the surrounding forests and jungles of life essence and arose to walk the world. There were now 3 spore mounds in total, and each embodied a different region of the Evergrowth's domain. Zang, covered in swampy mires and mushroom thickets. Bataan, covered in primal forestlands. And Nanu, covered in dense jungles. As one, they moved against Grond. Aggramar watched as the spore mounds converged on Grond, and that's all he did. The spore mounds moved in perfect unison, nearly overwhelming Grond. But like Aggramar and Rick Astley, the elemental giant possessed a will of steel and wasn't going to give up. A massive battle ensued. Zang was the first to fall against Grond's onslaught, because he was the smallest. Bless him. Over time, Zang's rotting body would transform into the fungal region known as the Zanga Sea. Nanu was next. Its broken husk would slowly sink into the earth and become known as TANAAN Jungle. 2 down, 1 to go. But the battles had weakened Grond and Bataan could sense it. So Bataan leached power from Nanu and Zang's bodies and grew bloody massive. Even with this extra strength, it knew to be cautious. It evaded Grond's direct assaults whilst entangling him in thousands of small vines. These vines gradually burrowed into the cracks and wounds on his skin. By the time Grond realised that these vines actually were a threat, it was too late. Grond's existing wounds were wrenched open and he collapsed under his own weight, crumbling to pieces. The bulk of his corpse formed a mountain range at the end of a region later known as Grond. And we're leaving it there! Poor Grond, he died. Aggramar's still kind of just watching all this unfold, so in Friday's video we'll be continuing the story and taking a look at the Colossals and some other stuff. So if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed. If you enjoyed this video, press the like button, talk to me in the comments, and all that's left to say is, thanks very much for watching, and see ya!